Well, good morning. A continuing story on the refit of Welo. We have a rare opportunity. I'm up here in Pender Harbor, and we're going to be talking to Robin next door to my old boat here, who's got the sister ship to Welo up here in Pender Harbor. And he's done some extraordinary work on the inside of what I have to do eventually on Welo. And we're going to look at a couple of things on his boat. All right? So let's get started. Here's Moonwind. And what year is it, Robin?
I think it's 1974.
1974, same as mine. There's a couple of really cool things about this boat. As you saw in my the video we're showing right now, his tow rail was taken off when it came into Vancouver and completely bolted down. And you've had no serious leaks except for down by the stanchion, right?
That's one stanchion that was removed.
And that was it. Kind of cool. He's doing the restoration like me. Look at this. There's a spinnaker pole attached to the mast. What a great idea to get it cleared off the deck. And you're also selling your propane tank as well too,
That's
right?
Correct, yeah.
And what's nice about this, the propane, is it is environmentally friendly. There's only about, what, 100 hours?
Yeah, probably not even that.
Yeah. And he's going to keep the small bracket attached to the boat. The bracket from there on is going to be included in the sale. It comes with all the wiring. It comes with the fiberglass propane tank,
right?
The starter, and the starter battery, and all the hoses.
Yeah.
So you can contact us here, and he's looking for what? How much for it?
I guess 2,200.
2,200. So there you are. We're gonna have a look inside of what jobs Robin has done. Okay, inside Robin's boat, as you'll see by the previous pictures from mine, the chain plates were an issue because they were just originally going through the actual wood bulkhead, and they were tearing through, as you saw on my port side, right through the wall. There was no backing plate. And this is what we're going to be doing on Welo, and this has been done on Moonwind. They actually put a 28.25-inch stainless steel chain plate, attaching it to the original, coming right down to the actual fiberglass section of the boat on both sides. And that will stop all the problems of the sneaking chain plate moving up and down. So that's really cool. We'll be doing that on Welo as well too. A couple other things that Robin's been doing on his boat. One thing is the engine's been redone. And what kind of engine is this?
Well, it's a Yanmar, 1 horsepower, horizontal diesel motor. So we yarded it out and took it down to Richmond, had it rebuilt. And it runs like a clock, actually.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's a nice horizontal one as well too. And he's doing some work on replacing all the insulation on the cooler. And the stove is out. My stove sits on top. Originally the Isogo stove was flush mounted. And how many had drawers underneath here?
Yeah, there's a couple drawers under there, yeah.
A couple of drawers as well too. So that's going to be rebuilt. We'll come back to visit and see how that job is done. One really nice job that Robin's done is the emergency locker and doors on the side. Look at that restoration work. Now you just took that out, right?
Yeah, it pops out. You can see the screws in the bottom. I haven't.
Oh yeah.
I just took it back to my shop. The top was plywood, and it had rotted because of water.
So what did you put on top?
Well, I have some cherry wood.
Yeah.
And that's what I rebuilt it with solid cherry wood.
Wow.
So it looks all right.
Oh, it looks extraordinary. And you said you love restoring old boats?
Yeah. It's an ongoing project.
Well, I know, me too, eh? But it's part of the love. And this boat is so nice because it's got tons of headroom. It's got all the teak inside. It looks really nice. And it's so nice to see a sister ship and everything that's been done in this boat that we want to do on Welo. Anyways, thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
We'll come back and have another look because you're doing the port windows as well too, or those windows down there that are leaking.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at those. Okay, so Dan, the engine is all the hoses and all the gas lines and everything else has been taken apart. Now, what's the game plan?
Well, yeah, it's ready to pop out. So we just got some levers, so it's an awkward area. Can't lift it, so I'm just gonna go under it with my foot and drag it out. And we're gonna maybe rig it up with some ropes just to have some extra handles and lift it out.
Oh.
Carry it down the boat.
Here we are. Okay, so now that the engine is out, we've taken the stuffing box out. The shaft is not quite in front of the rudder, thank God. So we can actually take the shaft out from behind.
But we're going through the inside today because the coupler is probably going to be really hard to get off.
Oh, are we? Okay.
So this is probably going to be easier to get off. And I can always remove the coupler on the bench.
Oh,
It'll be a lot easier.
all right.
If we decide we want to actually take it off. Yeah, nice and tight.
I tell ya, boats. Okay, this is the coolest tool I've ever seen. What is this?
It's a puller.
A puller.
It pulls on things.
Oh my God.
It's the right tool for the job.
My God. I've always said there's 4 things a guy needs when he gets married. A pickup truck, beer fridge, power washer.
You know, I don't want to eat it should pop off.
Oh, wow. So cool. Now then, sort of applying some heat. To get the blade off the shaft. The right tool for the right job. So we've been working for about 3 or 4 hours on the engine and all the compartment. We got of course, the shaft out. And Dan was showing me some of the really unusual, strange things that we've discovered on this engine. So, say it again.
So I got the same engine, but a 3-cylinder on my boat.
Okay.
And it's like 34 years old. And it's raw water cooled.
Okay.
Salt water, so I had a lot of buildup. It's almost like calcium or salt in all the small lines and fittings that goes through. Water comes in here from the water pump into the block. And I think this is a bypass loop that goes out and straight into the exhaust cooling because you always need that.
Right.
But yeah, just a full buildup of salt, and it's like milky, white, pasty calcium. But yeah, it'll fill up the block and like the drain for the block. That I had to pick that out with a screwdriver. It's just full of, and we're gonna clean that, pressure wash it, or maybe add vinegar, maybe CLR.
Okay. Yeah.
We gotta make sure we're not gonna damage engine with CLR or something. But yeah, just give her a good clean so it's got good water flow. You can have restriction at your thermostat, and you'll get an overheat situation really quick. So this is probably should be done every couple of years. Just pull the hoses off, inspect them, all these small passages, and yeah, raw water cool. And check your anodes in your engine as well. I think I pulled it out. It's over here.
Oh, did you?
Have a look. And so it's kind of half eaten away. So we're just gonna bolt on a new little anode, and that's it. Clean it up.
It's nice to have the engine out for a full inspection, and you were a bit concerned about the transmission seal. What's the story on that?
Well, there's no oil on the dipstick, but you can still see it in there. It's a bit low, and it's tough to say if it is leaking or not.
Right.
It hasn't been running, and there's kind of just oil and grit everywhere, so it's suspect, but I don't know.
But it's worth doing.
Well, another thing I could maybe do is put oil in it and put a little bit of pressure, a couple pounds on it, and see if it's leaking.
Oh, okay.
Is another thing. And then before we do all the work,
Okay, let's try that first.
yeah, maybe see if it's leaking first.
Yeah. But look at that, total access. Finally, we can get into doing some serious maintenance and repair to keep this wonderful little machine running for the next 10 years.
And it will. It's just a little bit of maintenance, and
That's what's needed.
it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
So the engine, of course, came out last night, and we have a special guest here today. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
The original owner of Welo is here today to work on our little baby engine. So what things have we done today, Steve?
Today we've pulled the oil out of the oil pan, changed the oil filter. We've done the secondary fuel filter up here. And now we're changing the impeller on the water pump.
Oh, okay.
And then, I'm not sure what we're doing after that.
Oh, the fan belt?
We're gonna change the fan belt, yeah. It's a little
And-
loose, so we're gonna put on a new fan belt and tighten that up while we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
you're very welcome.
Well, continuing with the inspection of all the parts for the engine and the exhaust and going through the manual, what we need, I've discovered a small water leak in the water lock that comes out of the engine for the water exhaust hose. A new one here. And then it goes to the gooseneck, and then outside on the back transom down there. There is a hole right here, melted through, just nothing left, a thin membrane. And it looks like that's part of the dilemma. Water's been coming through here as well too. So I'll have to examine where it's been rubbing and either get a new one or maybe do a solid patch on that. That would solve a little bit of the water problems too.
So
Okay, so Dan's had a good look, taken the oil pan apart, and we cleaned it. And what suspicions do you have, Dan?
I don't know yet because I didn't see where it's leaking. So before I take something apart, I usually clean it with brake clean real good, blow it off, and then I run it so I can pinpoint the leak before you just start replacing the gasket.
Yeah.
Or when it could just be a loose line, you tighten that up, fix it, or worst case scenario, this whole gear casing's leaking down here.
Yeah.
Maybe you just got to tighten the bolt. The best thing to do is pinpoint a leak before you go reseal everything. But you can also go just reseal everything.
Yeah.
Two ways of doing things, but both work.
But the secret is doing compression test, right? Running it and seeing it once we put some of the seals back on and actually cleaning the gasket, cleaning the top and the bottom of the oil pan now that it's totally out, as we showed earlier in the video, will give us a better indication in the process of elimination.
Yeah, after I resealed everything on mine, I started up, run it, and on my Yanmar, I had on the back of the fuel pump,
Yeah.
there's a cover, and I left a bolt loose.
Oh,
Or I think an accessory was on it, and for some reason it got left loose at the moment. Tighten that up. And then I had my water pump was just leaking a bit, so I redid the bearings and seals on my water pump. And she's drip free now.
oh. Well, that's our goal here. lot easier to work out problems with the engine out of the, the bottom of the sailboat for sure.
Comes out easy.
Okay, so Dan, what are we doing here?
Trying to press out the old cutlass bearing.
And you told me last night that the cutlass bearing is not any set screws. What was the word? It's
an interference fit.
Interference fit. So we have a tube here. We've got a rod going through, bolts.
She's tight.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And we're using this little, kind of like a washer to push it through, hopefully. Interesting stuff.
I don't see any in this one.
Yeah, we couldn't find any set screws. Where would set screws be, Stratus? Oh, epoxy. So we're gonna have to heat it.
Right. That's either epoxy or interference fit, I don't know.
Alright. So the last technique did not work. We believe the cutlass bearing has been epoxied in. We tried heating it up with that puller, did not work. So now we're making relief cuts with a Sawzall. I'm sure they're making names up of these products just to make life interesting for me. But here,
Sawzall. It solves all things.
Yeah. Oh, it's Sawzall. And this is what. We also discovered while we're doing the cutlass bearing that this shaft space here for the shaft to go through the boat was not primed. So the whole entire glass surface here was totally exposed. So we're gonna sand it and then put an epoxy primer in it. Oh, okay, after what? How many relief cuts? Three relief cuts and banging, heating it up, it finally popped out. But it took this little piece to be chiseled out of that for that to break over. You know, do you think there was epoxy glue in it?
I can't tell.
I don't think so. I think that was what that you were talking about.
Interference fit is what it should be.
But see that? There's no glue in there. I think it's interference.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think so
It
too.
almost looks like it's spun over there. Like unless maybe it did get loose somehow and spun up. It looks weird there.
Interesting. So there you are, guys. If you're trying to remove a cutlass bearing, all it is elbow grease and just a few smarts. So what is it?
I just kind of scored it up or
Just
something.
score it up on the inside, so when you press the bearing in cold, it's going to expand and lock up against the inside over here.
So that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
you just thought that or it spun.
Okay.
Spun and locked.
That's why we have the new part in the freezer over there to shrink it. And then what do we do? Heat this up?
A little bit. Got to measure it first.
Oh. Better? Well, it took some doing, but the new cutlass bearing has finally been put in. That's what it looks like. We had to take the cutlass bearing, put it in a deeper freezer next door. The small one over here didn't make it cold enough. And we really heated up this unit here and we punched it through. And there we are. So now we're flushing the engine. We took the frost plug out. Oh, water is flushing through the engine nice and easy. It was plugged up with gunk right here. We had to scoop it out. Now the engine is nice and debris free from the inside out. Good.